Good morning, my fellow yogic travelers. I'm mighty glad to be alive today, and I hope that you are too as we continue to live, laugh, love, learn, linger, and live the life we love. It's PowerPoint Day, so here we go. This is called the Sacred Canopy. You know, just like an avatar, the ancient people understood the world as a kind of umbrella that covered you, protected you, sheltered you, gave you nourishment, connected you to everything. That was the sacred canopy. And sometimes you see it reflected in things like the wedding ceremonies, whether it's Hindu or Jewish. You often have that covering over your head, symbolizing the same thing. You have the Dharma as another sacred umbrella that covers you. And so we're all living under these plausibility structures that reinforce the religious vision. Even the crucifixion of the Christ represents a certain kind of coverage that the divine has given us by taking the place as a human being, if you want to believe the sacrifice. But you have to have faith in it, which is impossible in this world. How did Moses, be the channel through which the Red Sea parted? If you believe that. But not if you're in this world. The rational world doesn't allow you to have faith in that. They're two different things. But the sacred canopy legitimates reality in a certain way, and it combines the individual sense of community and community belonging together, so that each one of us kind is made up of different color, you could say, and we hold a different piece of the puzzle, which is colored differently. But all together somehow we can create a unity out of all these multitudinous skin pigmentations, belief systems, and so forth. Now, it's unbelievable to realize that here's a Republican who you may not have agreed with his policies, but the modern separation of church and state as stated in the Constitution. How about Ronald Reagan saying this? We establish no religion in this country. We command no worship. We mandate no belief, nor will we ever. Church and state are and must remain separate. A lot of Republicans need to hear that, right? Well, that means we live in a time when supposedly the cessation of coercion by religious institutions and political rationales no longer force people, compel people, torture people to toe the party line. There's no guarantee of adherence to the old ways. Allegiance is voluntary now, and certainly less certain than it was. No longer taken for granted. We're different people, think differently. And the reversal of modernization into the pre-industrial societies is kind of close to impossible now. There may be a few indigenous tribes still living in the Amazon or in Borneo or whatever, but the march of history is moving forward, and we ain't going to go back to that primitive time. Fundamentalism has been struck with the palsy of pragmatism as the guiding influence of its methodology. So we have to understand these are the forces that have taken us away from the old canopy. First, secularization. Everybody's in the modern world, in the contemporary world. Miniaturization. Everything has been shrunk into smaller and smaller and yet more potent information-carrying devices, like a cell, a chip for the computer. And then democratization. Everybody understands the idea. No monarchy. No top-heavy totalitarian, fascist, or now capitalist control. People want to have a say. People want equality. And so those three together, democratization, secularization, miniaturization, and democratization, all combine in something like the cell phone. This is the technology that, like the gun might have leveled the playing field in the Old West. Well, the cell phone levels the playing field now for the consumer society and the global society that we live in. But death is always going to radically challenge the taken for granted world. Everything becomes dubious. Your faith becomes shaky. Your grief makes you not believe anything. How can I even go on? This is part of the sacred canopy that no longer is covering us, giving us a place of understanding of what happens to death and how it's integrated with the rest of life. So in the old models, anomie, it's an old French word. It's a condition in which society provides little moral guidance to individuals, so you feel depressed. You can't turn to the canopy anymore. But it used to be a bulwark against it. It was the defense when you're under pressure. This was the fortress. It protected you, and you didn't question the beliefs too much. But as Christopher Hitchens would say, human decency is not derived from religion. It precedes us. Yeah, we didn't need the 10 Commandments to be moral human beings. It was already there. So for me, religious teaching is not organized. It's much more individual, subjective preference. It's that sphere of private religion. Nobody knows what goes on inside your own head and heart, and that's the one that speaks directly to spirit, in my way of understanding. Now, the televangelists, of course, you wonder, God has all the abundance in the world, but how come he needs your money? All the bureaucrats are vying for their market share because there's no guarantee that the next generation is going to just roll over and immediately believe what came before. Too many educated and sophisticated people to buy into it, although there's still millions of uneducated and unsophisticated people who do buy into it. Otherwise, these guys wouldn't have a job. But once you understand there's no longer any monopoly on reality definition in a pluralistic society like us, can we tolerate the different denominations? Can we recognize ourselves in the other? Whether, as an example here, it's Islam, Buddhism, Judaism, paganism, Wiccanism, Christianity, Taoism, right, Hinduism, or science. Can we coexist? I know I can. And so, the last thing that's happened to destroy the sacred canopy is we demythologized and we exorcised all of the supernatural elements out of religion. And so it seems like we're just left with secular humanism. Can that be the canopy that covers us all? If we have a complete turnaround in our compassion and kindness of our heart, we'll be able to do it. Have a great day, and don't forget, tomorrow I'm teaching out at Chai Yoga Shack from 2 to 5, 1942 North Levitt. We'll be teaching neck and shoulder therapeutics. Hope you can come and join us. Have a great day.